we're bringing you Alice Teller, the CEO and founder of Makie Lab. And you know what that means, the world's first 3D printed toy. So come up close. I'm about to welcome to the stage Alice Teller.
Hi, is this on yet? They have switched one on. Hi everybody, so I'm Alice, I'm the CEO of Makie Lab, and we're a startup based down in London. And I'm basically going to tell you how we came about, because I'm talking to you today as a customer of 3D printing, as a student of 3D printing. My whole background is in digital media, but I basically had this idea 3 years ago and then taught myself and hired a team to do what we've done today. And if we can do it, anyone can do it. That's kind of the point of what I want to talk to you about. If I could get the slides onto the screen, I will run you through. So we make 3D printed toys from digital media. The first example there is avatars to dolls. Can you get the slides up at all? We've been going for about 2 years, and we launched our products last summer in London online, where a kid can come along, or an adult, and create their doll using sliders, at which point we 3D print on demand and send it out to the customer. Here they come. We can print on, the dolls themselves are printed in powder and powdered nylon, and then the accessories are off pretty much any extrusion machine, so a cube can print all of the, you can see some of the boots and toys right there. We are a startup that raised VC finance and then formed to do this, and we're basically coming into beta as soon as the game comes into play, and the game will allow kids to not only turn an avatar into a doll, but all of the digital goods that you see in the game will be able to turn into physical goods over time. Anything we can do about this, Keith? Okay, we're nearly there. I'm really sorry about this. So it's about 30 slides. I'll tell the story nice and quick, if we can get through it. Okay, what I'll do is we'll catch up the slides as I tell what happened. So my background is in games, and basically 3 years ago I was at a conference called Digital Kids, which is co-located with the US Toy Fair. And Digital Kids is where people were talking about things like Club Penguin and Moshi Monsters and that kind of big digital world. And then upstairs was the physical toys, and they were completely separate. And there was this brilliant moment where somebody had been talking about, I think it was Club Penguin, and one of the toy people said, all this screen-based business is all very well, but don't you want kids to play with a hoop and a stick? And it was one of those moments where it was like, they can do both, and they will do both. That genie is out of the bottle, the kids will have a screen in their pocket, they'll always want to play with physical toys. Why can't we have blended play and push these things together? So the background, the traditional toy industry, as you know, mass produces product. It's not normally tailored to the individual. It's made in bulk, usually in the Far East, and then shipped over to the States or wherever. It sits in a warehouse, goes into a store, large marketing budget, and then you find out whether your customer wants it. 3D printing turns this on its head. So our toys are printed on demand. We only make a sale when somebody has decided they want to purchase something, which means no wastage, very easy, low shipping, no storage, happy customers. The other thing is with 3D printing is every single toy is unique to each customer, which creates a really strong connection. We've been going for just over 1.5 years, and we haven't had one return yet. So the kids that are buying the toys, they really feel connected to that toy, and that it's very special to them, unlike a lot of toys actually which end up being played with for about 10 minutes and then go into landfill. What else can I tell you without having the slides right in front of me? Have I got it? There we go, alright. So this is a really interesting book actually, The Real Toy Story. It tells the story of the American, German and British toy industries and the wholesale move to China. And the book by Cory Doctorow, Makers, which came out in 2009, which describes this idea of, 3D printing and making your own things. And it was from there, so I'll just nip through. One of the first things that happened when Cory wrote that book was a customer of his book, modeled the front of his book, 3D printed that thing, and then sent it through the post. And it was one of those moments, this is 2010, when we opened it, and it was like, oh my god, that thing just was made real instantly. It's that magic, right? So this was 2010, also the time of virtual goods. I was playing games where you could buy things digitally, and that was it. You'd spend money on stuff that didn't exist. I played a lot of World of Warcraft, and one of the first things that happened in the 3D printing world was you could print your World of Warcraft character. This was an amazing feeling. After having spent 4 years playing something, you could suddenly have a tangible kind of souvenir of your time in this virtual world. That's obviously printed on a 3D Systems machine, and that gave me the idea for the dolls. So the other thing, that we started with dolls because they're the biggest toy category, but also girls are pretty underserved. The traditional industry tends to want to make things all but the same, because it goes back to that idea of once you have lots of things in a warehouse, you're taking a big risk. You don't want to take too much of a risk, so everything tends to look exactly the same as everything else because they know it sells. I'm always feeling sorry for that guy who's clearly being caught in the act of buying something pink. American Girl, you guys are, I'm sure, very familiar with. In Europe, it's not in Europe, so I often have to explain what American Girl is, but they attempt, well they do, customization by brute forcing the problem. So if you go to American Girl, you can choose from one of 40 dolls. And if you have curly hair and brown eyes, it's actually kind of more like 1 in 3. But they sell it as a me doll, if you like. And American Girl is an 800 million a year business for Mattel and a significant part of their profit growth. So they've kind of shown that the customization aspect is extremely popular, but they can only take it so far with traditional manufacture. So we effectively create an avatar builder. You literally use your finger to slide around, and it changes the shape of the eyes and the nose and the mouth. And the files get printed and sent to the machines. And then within 2 weeks, we deliver a completely unique doll to the customer. We're in retail in the UK, in a place called Selfridges, but this is what you can buy off the shelf, is the box, which you could take home and make the doll, and then we make them in London. We're printing in Amsterdam and the UK, so we're making dolls. I don't think dolls have been made in London since Victorian times, and we're actually in a big old building, so it's kind of like 100 years later, what goes around comes around, which is really cool. And we achieved toy status, so it's a capital T thing, because basically when you want to make toys for kids 3+, you have to pass toy safety certification. So the nylon in the powder is a bioplastic, you could eat it, it's completely safe. And we put it through all of the testing and the filaments included. So now that that's happened, pretty much anybody can do that, so if you want to have a go, have a go. We also won a bunch of awards this year, which again was kind of unexpected because we're still building this thing, but the one I'm really proud of is Dad's Choice. Because obviously I think dads previously were struggling when their daughters wanted dolls, they didn't really know what to do about it, whereas in this case, not only can you co-create with a parent, but the dolls themselves, you know, bits you could print at home on your machines, and dads are really into that. So the other thing that we did was, the thing about 3D printing is it allows you to iterate really, really quickly. And as a software person, I'm completely used to this, putting something live, having a look, A/B testing maybe, and then changing it rapidly. But in the traditional manufacturing land, you can't do that. Once you've made your doll and made it in the millions and it's in the warehouse, if there's something wrong, there's something wrong, and you don't go back to change it. So what we did was we treated physical like digital. We put it live before it was finished and said, tell us what you want, tell us what you like. And so early adopters turned up and they got on the forums and they said, we want to be able to photograph, we want this kind of clothes, we want ray guns, we want kilts, we want drums. And so our team would go and model those items and put them up digitally, literally within hours sometimes, and then they could just go and buy it. And that way you don't have to, the risk of whether something gets sold or not just disappears, because it's only in digital form until it's made real, and it's only made real when you've made a sale. So they helped us figure out all sorts of things, like skin color was one of them. The nylon powder comes in white, bone white, and we wanted to do skin color, and so they were boiling the dolls in ink, and we were boiling the dolls in tea and coffee and all sorts of stuff, and it worked. We do the same with all of the clothes. We make some of the clothes, we put the patterns online, and we encourage people to make their own versions and share amongst themselves. And so the whole idea being that the making aspect is the creativity aspect comes through all of this new manufacturing, which again is just very, very hard to do with traditional. So we launched an app this year, and that's when with skin colours, and that's when it really started to take off. Characters started emerging. So these are all from our customers. This lady made a doll using IKEA cutlery drawers. That's a modified little IKEA system there. This is one of our customers in Dubai. She's pretty much bought everything that we've ever modeled so far. A professional doll lady turned up and said, this is what happens when you put makeup on them. And in fact, you can just put real makeup on them. So she taught us that, and she was so awesome at it that we hired her. And then some really weird characters started turning up. We ended up having to make a doll for the Prime Minister and Prince Harry. And you can see they're really enjoying playing with it. So men do like dolls. We also really want to encourage the kind of hacking and electronics and just that blend of technology that's happening so fast. So this is one of the dolls. One of our customers is a lady called Kat, and she wanted a doll with expressive cat ears, so she built it. That's what the retail environment looks like in Selfridges. So they turned up when they saw our product, and after about a year, and said, can you come into Selfridges and sell in retail? And we said, well, let's try it, because nobody has done this before. But the thing is usually to get into retail, that whole process of creating a toy and getting it onto the shelves takes about 4 years, sometimes up to 6. And in our case, it was 1. So again, it's just like this new technology allows for such rapid production and iteration. It's really awesome. And so we partnered with them to learn, figure out what on-demand in retail looks like. So you go in and there's some iPads and you can make a doll there, just like you kind of can over here. And then they buy the doll directly through the store. We're also doing the same with kits. So both with your own online store and with Selfridges, we make very short runs of test kits, put them on, see how fast they sell, and then iterate like that. And that's a print your own. All of the files are on that little 3D printed USB drive, and then the cloth kit is on display as well. The other thing that happened was Selfridges wanted to turn on the Christmas lights in Oxford Street in London, and they got Jessie J, who's a really big pop star, to come and turn on the lights. And they said, can you make us a Jessie J doll? And they asked us that 3 weeks before it was about to happen. Now, going back to traditional again, if you're going to do some branded star dolls, which are quite common, it takes at least 9 months to turn that around. And we were like, yeah, we can do that. We turned it around in 2 weeks. And there's Jessie holding her doll, and she stuck it on Instagram, and it got like 35,000 people liking it within seconds. So that was really, really cool for us. Thank you, Jessie. I mentioned that we consider ourselves still in alpha beta. The game is about to come out. The game is, as I mentioned, where kids will be able to make things through machines in the game, which you'll then all be able to make real. At that point, we'll figure that we're in beta. So there'll be mini digital 3D printers in the game, textile printers, that kind of thing. And kids will be able to, in some cases, only have a physical object once they've achieved something digitally. So once they've, I don't know, we do something educational, level up, hit level 20, that's when you get together wings. And that goes back to that World of Warcraft example I gave you, where you basically have a trophy for having achieved something, and it sets in that little bit of rarity, like this is what I have done. And kids are, they love that. They really love it, and they will sit there and play and create for hours, and that is such a joy to see. And that's basically thanks to all of this new manufacturing. As I said right at the beginning, we're all self-taught in this, and that's again one of the just pretty miraculous things that's happened. In my lifetime, the fact that people can turn up and not have a product design background or a manufacturing background, and have a go, and then turn it into a business. And so you can all do that too if you're not doing it already. That's me. Thank you very much. You can have a look over there. You can try it at makie.me, and maybe if you've got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.